Yes, people, welcome back to another episode of That Gunners Talk. And you're here with a new member to the cast, where we're going to get into that smoothly. But big news coming in from the Arsenal as Gyökeres seems to be imminent. That deal seems to be getting done. Eze, personal terms seem to be agreed, and more Arsenal talk coming to you guys over the next course of this time. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you guys for joining the show. Me and KP here as usual. And we have a new member to the panel today. Teron, big up yourself. You want to introduce yourself? Let the people
Yeah,
know who
man.
you
Big
are.
up, man. Big up, man. Thanks for having me. Theron from BBK Sports, diehard Arsenal fan, man. Been supporting this club from since 1991. It's about 34 years strong. Seen a lot of highs, a lot of lows, and a lot of in between. So I've seen it all, so I can relate to everybody. But yeah, man. Appreciate you
Mhm.
having me on the panel.
Anytime. KP, tell me how you're feeling, brother. Recently on Tehran's channel, so talk to me about that.
Yeah, it was a nice experience. I like going back and forth with Tehran, a good conversation. And off the back of today's news, obviously, I'm pretty sure we'll have a bit more conversation onto that as well. But yeah, feeling good. Obviously, it's nice that Arsenal have moved early in the window for once in our lifetimes. Like so,
Absolutely. Well, first of all, I want to talk about the big one, something that everyone has been talking about for months and months and months. Viktor Gyokeres. That deal seems to be imminent. So much going on behind the scenes to get this deal over the line. We hear he's giving up 2 million wages. The agent has waived this fee. We've also seen that we're probably going to get him for a fixed fee of about 55 million, which is really good for a top quality striker with the amount of goals he scored. Going to Tehran first because Tehran hasn't really been on the panel. So tell me how you're feeling about Gyökeres and tell me what your expectations for Gyökeres is this season coming into this Arsenal squad.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I think Gyökeres was the striker that we needed. Not necessarily the one that I thought the manager wanted to get, but I think he was the final missing piece because he comes across to me as a striker that's ready now. This Arsenal team is primed to win now. If you ask me, even yesterday on my channel, KP asked me, "Do I think the squad is good enough to win?" And I said, "Yeah, the squad is good enough to win." We've heard time and times before people tell you that defense wins championship. Well, we have the best defense in the Premier League 2 years in a running. You can have an off year, a fluke, and have the best defense in the league, but do it to 2 years in a row in the Premier League and in Europe. I believe in our defense. I never go into a game worried about us getting battered, us getting overran, none of that stuff. So the defense is good. The midfield, not the greatest, but we've challenged with that midfield. The strike force is where we need help. I think Gyökeres is an experienced striker. He's in his prime, 27. It's been a while. Like I said, I've been following this club for quite a long time. It's been a while since the best available striker on the market openly says, I want Arsenal. I score goals, you need goals, match made in heaven. Let's do it. So I'm buzzing about Gyökeres, man. Absolutely buzzing.
Mm-hmm. KP, your thoughts on Gyökeres?
obviously, as I said on my channel earlier in the week, obviously, I had my preferred options ahead of Gyökeres. But obviously, as I've been able to think about things, it's true. Like Arsenal need to win now, and as much as it's always nice to plan for the future or think about like the most ideal situation moving forward, because Arsenal aren't like a Chelsea or Man City, that doesn't mean as a fan you have to excuse the club always trying to deter our timeline of when we should do things. And as Turan just explained, I think Gyökeres, as much as he's not the perfect striker, he's someone that knows how to put the ball in the back of the net.
Yeah.
And the nature of him, obviously, like what's it called, like giving back his wages to Sporting. I see today the reports about his agent. His agent didn't take the commission. Someone put like the real. I don't know if you guys have watched Power when Ghost put the gun to Tariq and he's like, "Hey, wake up, little nigga." Do you know what I mean? That's what the Gyökeres did to his little agent. I'm like, I like those little things because it's the little things to me that matter. Obviously, that you don't really see, like players that really want to be here, players that really want to feel like they want to make a difference. And I feel like we won't know how Gyökeres is going to fit, but it definitely tells me that Arsenal are definitely shifting in a different way because Gyökeres isn't, as Tuan said, Arteta's probably first choice or his typical type of striker. So does that mean Arsenal are shifting in terms of the style of play and the way we're going to create chances and the way we're going to, use the team in the attacking sense? Because we already know what we're given defensively. So also given the price as well, 55 million base rate for, as you said, one of the top goal scorers in Europe right now. It's good. Like it kind of justifies, I guess, the little bit of the delay in the agreement of the deal because maybe Arsenal had a standpoint and clearly they left the deal probably feeling like they got the value that they wanted to pay for. How about you, Steph? What do you
Absolutely.
think about the Gyökeres though and the player in general?
Um, I've been thinking about this for a very long time. I personally wanted Sesko, and it has nothing to do with Gyökeres when I say this. When I looked at Sesko, for me personally, it was about a lot of. It was a package, a whole package of a player. Tall, presence, strong, powerful, can run in behind, does have good intuition in front of goal, and can also score goals. Can also build and grow into a role. We've seen players like Isak, who may not have the best goal scoring record previously coming into Newcastle, but then he comes into the Premier League, develops his game, finds his feet under a good manager, and he takes him to the next level. I think seeing Mikel Arteta's track record, he is also a good manager that could have taken a player like Sesko to that level. And I think that's why they probably were trying to go for him first. Pivoting to Gyökeres, like I said, I believe Gyökeres is going to come into Arsenal and score goals. That's not my doubt. I think he will come in and score goals. I'd be surprised if he doesn't score goals, which will lead me to my next question. Because when you buy a guy for 55 million, good thing me and you talk privately, KP, about if that price is higher, what expectations do you have of a player to come in and how many goals does he need to score? But maybe I'll go back to you, KP. Gyökeres scored almost 100 goals in 100 games in his last 2 seasons at Sporting. We know about the types of goals he scores, mostly penalties, maybe in and around the box. Does have some variety to his goals, but maybe not like others in European football. Does any of that concern you in terms of the fit for Arsenal?
100%. Like there would be. I don't think with any signing there's just like 100% perfect fit or perfect like no doubts about how they might adapt or fit in our team. You know, Gyökeres has some weaknesses to his game that we hope that he can improve on, being in a better environment, being around better players as well. But like, given the fact that he is the player that he is, I think Arsenal have to adapt to him. I don't think it's. I think especially this season, if we're trying to win and we're trying to maximise the signing of him, if he's going to start, I think Arsenal need to utilise his strengths and whatever his strengths are, which is running in and behind, pulling out wide, one into the channels, putting the ball into the box and allowing him to, get shots off. I think Arsenal need to do that, and it's more about seeing how the balance can shape up between Arsenal playing around his style and him fitting into our style more than him having to fully adapt, in my opinion. I don't know what K1 thinks, so, but what's your opinion on that?
The whole, I don't know the numbers as far as the penalties go, but they count too, right?
Nah,
I
of
remember
course.
I remember Cole Palmer scored like 20, had 20 something goals. 13 of those were pens. No one discounts Mo Salah's penalty, but when this guy scores 39 goals in 2,800 minutes, bro, that's like a goal every 70 minutes. And the price tag is irrelevant to me because we paid 55 million pounds. We paid more for Havertz. Right? So the price tag is irrelevant to me. We paid more for Pepe, and he was casted out of the squad. So the price tag completely. I think in this day and age, we see Harry Kane go for 100 million in the final year of his contract. That's how scarce strikers are. And when you have a guy who found the net 54 times in a season in all comps, that's a good bargain for me. And if we don't need Gyökeres to score 30 goals for Arsenal. We need someone, even eight. I think eight. If we had a striker who scored 18 or 22 goals for us, I think we win the league last year. Because we only need to turn half of those draws into wins, and we're right there with Liverpool. Right? We draw 14 games. Just say we turn 6 of those into wins, bro. Just 6 of those. That's 12 points. We're right there and thereabouts. So I'm here for it. I think Gyökeres, I like his style of play. We say that the Sesko profile when he was 6'5", he was a bigger guy. I get that, but Sesko is 6'2". He's not a midget, he's 6'2", right? And I've watched him play, especially when we played Sporting. Even though we blamed him 5-1, I watched when he got on the ball. What I like about him, he likes to run at center backs. As a defensive player, bro, I'm telling you, the last thing you do not like a powerful, strong striker running at you full speed with the ball. And I see him do that at Gabriel. Now, fortunately, Gabriel and Saliba are two of the best center backs in the world. They were able to deal with that. But for us, we have the ability to turn teams over in the midfield with Declan Rice breaking up play and doing all that stuff. What I like is when we turn a team over, the ball gets to Odegaard. When Odegaard is on the ball, he has a pass in him that can take 3-4 defenders out. I like that dynamic of Gyökeres running onto the end of those, running at defenders, making them uncomfortable. Because I don't think Kai Havertz does that enough for us. So yeah, I'm buzzed about Gyökeres, bro.
And just to segue off your point as well, yeah. I think one thing that we like was a bit annoying last year was Arsenal never wanted to transition on teams when we had opportunity to when we won the ball, when teams attacked us and had a lot of their players in our half and we won the ball. we wasn't seeing the willingness to want to put the ball in behind, the willingness to want to just instead of slow the game down, just 1-2. And I think if you have a player like Gyökeres who wants to run in behind, it
Yeah,
forces players like Martin Odegaard,
Perfect to make that
a
pass.
player like Zubimendi, who I've been watching very, very much. He likes to play the ball forward a lot. Even someone like Norgard, they average a lot of progressive passes in the games, and that's why I'm trying to think: is there a change in what Mikel's trying to do this season in terms of yes, when the game state is given, maybe when we're up 3 goals or when the game there's only 10 minutes left in the game, control. But whilst the game is live, you're seeing now, hey, score as much goals as possible, put as much pressure on another team because
yeah,
there's no point trying to control a game at 1-0 or 2-0, even if you're not conceding that many chances given our defense. But us as fans, we want to see these players that we have that are quality maximized, like scoring a lot of chances, creating a lot of chances, like putting pressure on other teams, innit? And I think this happens. Steph, obviously, I'll give you this question. Obviously, I've criticized Odegaard many a time about obviously his chance creation and his inability or in his unwillingness to want to play the ball forward given when he gets the ball. So I feel like he always wants to retain the ball. Do you think having a player like Gyökeres we're gonna see a difference in Odegaard, or do you think naturally that's not his game, and maybe that's why we're bringing in someone like Eze who has more of an attacking game?
Nah, I do agree. I do think Odegaard hopefully next season will have a better season with Zubimendi and with Gyökeres, both players you mentioned. Hopefully, we've seen the goals against Chelsea. I remember the 23-24 season, that lovely ball in behind to Havertz. Even one of the goals against Sporting, I think it was to Calafiori. Beautiful outside of the foot finish that curled right in front of Calafiori. Like Taron said, Odegaard has a beautiful pass on him and he can create a lot of things. My issue with Odegaard is, like you said, he likes to retain the ball. He likes to make that link up with Saka. He likes to drop short and receive the ball, 5 yard passes, and then that ultimately kills our fluent form football. Also, the fact Teron made a good point with Havertz up front, doesn't like to run in behind. Martinelli, even though he has the speed, we don't really play like how us, for example, Barcelona play, where they're constantly putting the ball in behind to get Rafinha, Lamine
hmm
Yamal, those on the ball constantly. And I think that was what killed us. And I think that's what killed us in the Champions League last season. Because when I talked to you, KP, I said, what happens if we go 1-0 down, 2-0 down in the game? Can we go bang bang and answer back like certain teams did in the Champions League last year? And I think with the way football is turning, you see the new high intensity, high style of play. And I think Arsenal have a little bit of that in terms of how our press is. But no, adding the goals to that, adding the ability to transition in certain areas, key players, I think we should be better off next season. But that's where I want to lead my next question finally on the Gyökeres section. Does this signing ultimately mean no excuses no more for the manager? Because we talked so long about goal scoring, we talked so long about what he's missing. No, with Gyökeres as a missing piece, people like to mention. Do you think it's all or nothing no for the manager's career at Arsenal and for our Arsenal's title hopes? What do you think about this signing ultimately?
Yes, I
Toronto
mean,
can go on this one.
well, you know how I feel about the manager. Like, you know how I feel about it. I didn't have it. There was no excuse for him last year. I thought he had enough to win the league last year and the year before that. So now that you add a striker, there is no more pressure that I can put on Arteta. I think the squad is good enough. I just think, yeah, he was under pressure a year ago and the year before that to win. So yeah, I mean, absolutely. This is when you get a proven striker that you expect to bang goals based on how many chances we create. I expect you to take a step up, and the only way to go from second is up. Like Liverpool doesn't have an out and out number 9, but they do have a guy who scores goals. Manchester City have a number 9 that scores goals. Now we get a number 9 that scores goals because we will get goals from Saka. Saka was out this season for 4 months and still give you double digit GA in all comps. So we're gonna get goals from Saka. We get some from. We're gonna get goals from Rice. Odegaard may give us a few. So this is what we needed. This was the missing piece. This was the reason why we drew 0-0 with Everton at home. This is why we drew at Goodison Park 1-1. This is why we drew with Nottingham Forest and all these other teams that we drew against. So Arteta getting his final piece. Midfield, like I said, good enough to challenge. Best defense in the league 2 years in a row. You got your strike force. You add a Eze or you add another left attacking player. It's calm. You go and you compete.
My question, Toronto, to you: is there no possibility or no vision for you or no outside where we just think that this Gyökeres signing doesn't really pan out for the manager and ultimately he has to fall on that sword even though the majority of the fans wanted a Gyökeres?
That's if he completely changes the system that doesn't suit the player. But this is
Okay.
what we ask of you. Like I don't like I hear people blast Arteta for you're the third highest paid manager in the world, but I'm fine with you making your money. But if you're gonna get paid like that, I just ask you to earn your money, right? You have a problem. Like on August 17th, Ruben Amorim will give you a problem at Old Trafford to solve. I expect you to solve that problem. And that's why you are rated as one of the top managers and paid as such. So if you have one of a striker that shows you that he can score high volume goals, then you create a system that either you create more chances for him or you play to his style or that a style that's conducive to him scoring goals. That's what you get paid to do, because I've seen you do it by committee in the season before when Martinelli gave you 16, Saka gave you 16, and Jesus gave you 11, and Xhaka gave you 8. I've seen you do it by committee. We didn't have a out and out striker in the first title charge. The year after that, we scored even more goals. But it still wasn't enough. So now you have a proven bona fide striker, not a prodigy, not a 22-year-old. He is a full blown, in his prime, 27-year-old striker. Now give yourself a best chance. This is what I've been asking for. Give yourself the best chance in the transfer window. Control the controllables. Control what you can control. We won't be able to control the referee decisions, the fixture congestions, none of that stuff. You control going into the season prepared with your striker. Now he gets on the training pitch. Now Odegaard. Now Odegaard. Now Zubimendi can work with him to see how he likes to receive the ball, how he makes his runs. And you do all that in preseason. So August 17th, we're ready to go straight out the gate.
I
Okay.
think
Good.
it's more than even like any Arteta supporters giving him excuse. I think it's more Arteta giving himself or holding the club accountable with excuses about giving him not maximizing the window. Like the way this window is looking to shape up, as Tiwan said, if we get Aneze and whether we get Aneze and Rodrigo, we just get Aneze for example, and we get Mascara in. I think the fact that we're getting these done early before we've played any preseason game, before the window's nearing a shut, we probably wouldn't be concerned about whether we sign any other player if we were to get all these deals done. I think for Mikel himself, he's going to look at it and say, all I've asked for is just give me the tools, the full amount of tools for me to now make sure that I can do this DIY properly. And for him himself now, he has no excuse. Like he has all the tools that he would want. As everyone said, it's his fifth year now. It's his 18th transfer window, and the fact that Arsenal have addressed what they need to address, spend the money they need to spend, and done it early, like with enough time for him to work with these players to get acclimatized to the team and the system and the other players as well. I think it's just I just see it as this is just that moment that Arsenal need to go and just take this season. Like you need to go and every game, as Tawan said, like Mikel, earn your money, set up the team and adapt the team, set up the lineup to what's going to make us kill teams. That's just what I want.
Yeah, just for context, for historical context, just for context on one of the reasons why I said this team is primed to win. And I don't say that just because I'm an Arsenal fan, because most of the people who watch my channel say I'm on the negative side. Here is the thing. Over the past 3 seasons, Arsenal Football Club have lost a total of 15 Premier League games.
It's insane, by the way.
Just for
Insane.
context, Man United lost 18 games last year. Tottenham lost 22.
Yeah.
We're very hard to beat. So when the defense is that good, this is why I put so much pressure on the manager. Because the last time the defense was this good over a 3-year span, it was the 05-06 Chelsea. And they won 2 Premier League titles. So I know what a good defense can do. So this is why I was frustrated. You got a good defense, you got a good midfield, you get your striker, and you give yourself the best chance to go forward. 15 games in 3 years, bro.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
and that's
Very hard to beat.
and for me, like as a guy that believes Mikel can be the one to take us over the line, I think now that he has all the tools, I think he's gonna do it. Like, or if he given him to, I think he will do it because I feel like, as you're saying, he's built up that defense over so many years now to where we already all of us Arsenal don't go into games really fearful that we're going to lose. As you said, maybe in previous years, like last season, we weren't confident that we're going to win because of our attack, but we definitely were confident that we weren't going to lose. Now,
Yeah.
I'm saying if you give us a Eze, you give us a Gyökeres, you still have a Havertz, you still have a Martinelli, you still have a Saka, you got a Madueke now, you got a Jesus coming back at some point in the season to add an extra body, as well as Ethan Wanyeri and Odegaard and Max Downham in there and Rice and Marino back in his original position and Zubimendi pulling the strings. I can't lie to you. That just sounds
Still
nice on
deep.
paper.
That's Arsenal
Like,
speak.
and that just sounds like me. You shouldn't like it. Just like if I was if things was this simple, I'd see it as Arsenal have a great defense. Now they have a good attack. Arsenal should be wiping teams. But it's obviously easier said than done, innit? Steph, I don't know what you think and how you feel, but let's hear it.
Nah, I agree with most of what you said. I do, like I said, I do agree with you and say I do think Mikel Arteta is a guy to do it. It's really about showing people that don't believe that if he can, because Toronto's have a really good point there. I have to agree with him. Last time we saw a defense this good over a stretch of period of time, they won trophies. And when you're that good of a defense wins trophy. And look, even last season, we didn't have a front three at all that was competent in most games. We ended up in the Champions League semi-final and we ended up second in the league. In a league where obviously injuries, look how City fell off when they went through their injury crisis. Look how Tottenham United went through their injury crisis. Not saying we're that level or that bad in certain cases, but it can get bad if you're missing key guys at crucial moments in the season. So credit to Arteta, and I do think over the last couple of years he's shown that he has the ability to do it. It's really about crucial moments now. Hopefully these players make the difference. And I want to add